Okay, so in this week's guitar lesson, we're going to break down a bluegrass style composition that you can play by yourself. You don't need a jam track for this, so just grab your guitar, grab a pick, and then follow along. And this is a great practice exercise for those of you that are looking to improve your speed and more specifically the synchronization between your left and right hand, which actually happens before you get fast. You have to first get synchronized and then you can get a little faster. So it took me years to figure that one out, and trust me, that's a painful mistake to make. But anyway, we're going to break all of this down note for note. I'll explain where everything comes from, and all of the notes that we're playing are coming from the G major scale, and it's really open position G major scale. I'll explain what that means, and we'll break this down over the course of 2 videos. In this video, we're going to go through the first half. If you'd like to watch the second half, download the tablature and also access the on-screen tab viewer, which is interactive. You can get those extra materials by going to activemelody.com, go to the weekly lessons page, and do a search for EP523. Okay, so the first thing we need to talk about is the G major scale in open position. What does that mean? When I say open position, it just means open strings. That's all that means. So when I'm playing the scale, there's an open string, there's an open string, and there's an open string. Now, why would you want to play your scale with those open strings? What are the advantages? Well, a lot of it is speed. It allows you to do things that you couldn't do if you were in closed position. Closed position just means you have to fret everything. So that's where we spend most of our time, actually, was we're playing blues and pentatonic scales. We're in closed position. But when you're doing stuff like that's open position. So you're taking advantage of those open strings. All right, let's start off and look at the notes of the G major scale first. You'll see why I'm doing this in just a minute. So we have a G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, and that's really it. Then we're back to our G again, right? Now, the reason I put those up on the screen is I wanted to point out one thing. If you look at the notes there, you see we have an E, we have an A, a D, a G, and a B. And then there's our E again. So all of these strings that are open are in the G major scale. And that's one of the reasons, not the only reason, but one of the reasons why so many bluegrass songs or folk style songs are in the key of G when we're playing guitar. Is because you have those open strings. So if you're playing a scale, you can hit any of those open strings and it's going to work. The same is true, by the way, for the C major scale and the D major scale. Both of those scales also contain all of those open strings. So here's how you're going to want to fret that G major scale down here in open position. Starting on the 6th string, we're going to play the 3rd fret, then we're going to jump up to the 5th string and play open 5th string. And we're going to play 2 and 3, fret 2 and 3 on the 5th string. So we have... Then we're going to jump up to the open 4th string. And then we're going to play, while we're on the 4th string, we're going to play 2 and 4. And then the last one is our open G string. So now we have... So practice playing up the scale and then down. And just get familiar with that. Now here's the other thing to do, and this is one of the ways I used to practice it, is I would play the G chord and then I'd play up and down the scale like this. Play the chord first. Just practice that. And what that's doing is it's kind of connecting the two in your mind. It's sort of a muscle memory thing. And then you could do that for your other scales too, which we're not going to get into, but like with your C, you could... And it's really understanding that scale connected to that chord shape with those open strings. That's how, when you're improvising, it all starts to connect. Just like you could easily just sort of play a G chord and a C chord, you can easily play a G major scale going into a C major scale. And just as easily, once you understand it and your fingers kind of know what to do. They've got their little minds at work and they've kind of memorized. Muscle memory is all that is. All right, so we started with this lick. So look at that, it's an open fourth string. Now remember, these notes are all in your G major scale. And then we're gonna do a hammer onto the second fret, hammer onto the fourth fret on that fourth string. And then the open third string, which is our G note. I started with a downstroke, and then I did an upstroke on that open G string. So all together. Okay, now after that, I'm gonna strum. Now I didn't actually chord anything because I'm hitting strings 4, 3, and 2, and those are an open G chord. Look at that. Without having to play anything. That just happened to be. Then I came down to this note, 4th fret, 4th string. So, and then I strummed it like that. Again, I'm strumming strings 4, 3, and 2, I think. I think it was just like that. It's kind of a weird sounding chord, but it works because it's one of the notes from the major scale. And then that's all between the 3rd string and the 4th string. Open, 2nd fret, open. Now we're down to the 4th string on the 2nd fret, and then the open 4th string. So we have, let's back it up from the beginning. We have, now watch this. That's an upstroke on my open 5th string. We do a hammer on to the 2nd fret, and then I do another upstroke on the open 4th string. So, and then I go into position to play my C chord. So from the beginning we have, now we can play the C chord, and I just walk it down to the A minor. It's just right there on that 5th string, 3rd fret, 2nd fret, open. And why do these chords work? Well, they're all chords in the family of G. If we're looking at our circle of fifths, these are all chords from the G family. So we go from our 4 chord down to our 2 chord. Then we go to our D chord, which is our 5 chord, and I followed up with this lick. Let's look at this. All of these notes are just the G major scale. Even though we're playing over a D chord, remember, if you play the G major scale over a D chord, you're playing D mixolydian. That's covered in other lessons. I'll put a lesson up on the screen if you want to understand that in more detail. But I'm just thinking G major scale. So after I played the D chord, then I went like this. I did a slide up to the 4th fret on the 4th string, came up here to the 2nd fret, 3rd string, open 3rd string, back to that 4th fret, 4th string. So now watch this. Isn't that cool? Really easy though. It's all that open string stuff. So it's 2nd fret on the 4th string, open, then we come down to the 5th and play 2, open, and then open 4th string. So think of it in kind of 2 parts. Well, actually 3 parts if you count the D chord. You have the D chord, and then here's the first part, and then here's the second part. Now we're going to go back and repeat the way we started the song. That same little hammer on between the 2nd fret and the 4th fret on that 4th string. And then there's the next part of that. After that little first lick, we're going to go a walk down. This is on the 4th string, frets 4, 2, open. And then we go down to the 5th string and play 3, 2, open, come all the way down to this note, which is our 2nd fret 6th string, and then we land on that G note. So that's the lick. Let's take it from the beginning. I'll do it slowly. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, and that's the first time through. Now we're just going to repeat that phrase. So we're going to do the same thing. This is exactly the same. Then we go to our D chord again. This time I did a little different, something different. I went. All right, let's look at that. So from our D chord, and it's still just G stuff. It's still G major G major scale. So after we play our D chord, we're going to play this lick. So we're going to go with our ring finger on the 2nd fret, 4th string, slide up to the 4th fret, and then we're going to come up to the 3rd string and go 2, 4, 2, and then we're going to go 5 with our pinky, and then 4, 2. All of that on the 3rd string. So let's back it up. We have D chord. Now from here we're going to go. We're going to do a slide. I use my ring finger, 4th fret, 4th string, slide down to the 2nd fret, open 4th string. From the beginning of that we have. Now that's all alternate picked with the right hand. Down, up, down, up. Now, once we get to that open 4th string, we're going to come down to the 2nd fret, 5th string, play 2, open, and then back to the open 4th string. So let's look at that whole lick. It's like this. And then I followed up with this little lick. Classic bluegrass move here. It's 3rd fret, 4th string. We're gonna, and I use my ring finger for that. I just slide down, did it twice, and then back to my open 4th string, that open D note, and then down to the 2nd fret, 5th string. I hit that open G string, and then I can put my hand in position and play the G chord. So from that D, that's a great lick. If you walk away with nothing else, you've got to get that one, especially. So if you're playing something in G and you want that kind of hoedowny bluegrass kind of vibe, and what it is you're getting into that mixolydian sound. It's really the flat 7, that note, which is like in a G7, right? So you can hear it going into more of a bluesy sound when you get into that. But the bigger question is, what are all these notes? You know, when we're coming up to this, these are all still notes from the G. It's just the G major scale. So we started with that, right? But if you kept going up, that's where these are coming from. But they sound different over the D, right? Listen to this. If you play the D, and you hear that flat 7, that's the flat 7 of D, even though it's in the G major scale. So that's what I'm talking about, where the G major scale, when you're playing the G major scale over a D chord, you're getting a D mixolydian sound. It's a bluesy sound. But you don't have to worry about that. You just play the G major scale. And that's what this is all about, is just picking up licks and little ideas. Like that little idea. You'll remember that, and you'll remember it in context when you're playing a G in the future. That'll kind of work its way out, or you'll hear it in something that you're doing. Let's take it from the beginning and play up to that point. I'll do it slowly. Let's repeat. Okay, and that's what we have for the first part. Now there's another whole part which goes into an A minor and some other chords. It's all still chords from the G family, but we're going to save that for part 2. I hope you've enjoyed this first part. If you have questions about anything, you can always leave a comment. I always appreciate it when you do, or give me a thumbs up. I like that as well. And if you haven't subscribed to the Active Melody YouTube channel as you're watching this, subscribe, click the alert bell and all of that stuff. You can be notified as I put out new lessons, which I do every week. All right, we'll see you in part 2.